YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy Carl coming back at you from Golden Grimmett Productions. This time around, we're going to be diving back into Larry Bird Beyond the Glory. This is the second part. I know it's been a minute since I posted this, but I wanted to jump back into it. If you are new, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. It helps me out tremendously. Let's get straight into this video.
He was a flawed man. His father was an alcoholic. His father was a laborer who had skills that were that he could only bring to bear when he was sober enough to work.
The weekends weren't fun a lot of times because you know you're young and your father comes in. My mom always had to get up 3 or 4 in the morning, or we had to get up, to make sure he didn't hurt himself.
Among Joe Bird's interior demons were unshakable images from a combat tour in Korea.
Joey was through hell in the war, and he saw a lot of buddies killed, and he was in foxholes and stuff, and things like that can drain on a guy's mind. And Georgie even said that he'd wake up at night screaming and hollering, "Get down, get down."
As Joe's alcoholism advanced, the women in the Bird family assumed greater responsibilities. Grandmother Lizzie often watched over the 5 sons and 1 daughter. Long before Joe and Georgia divorced in 1972, Larry had withdrawn into isolation and silence.
He was very quiet and shy. He led by example rather than by words.
I saw Larry take an F in an English class because he wouldn't speak in front of his own peers.
He felt awkward. He felt poor. He felt scorned. He wasn't handsome. There was the broken home, a feeling of not having the essential elements of solidity in your family that allows you to feel as good as anyone else. He raised himself up and found the one true thing, basketball, that could let him out of what was this tiny island of his own little white ghetto.
I was playing one time, and there were some grown-ups standing around, and I was playing really well, and they were really excited about it. And once I seen the impact I was making, just with a few people standing there, I started playing more and more and started to develop my skills and really take my game to another level.
After sitting out most of his sophomore season with an ankle injury, the 6'2" Bird began a significant spurt of growth, almost 5 inches over 2 years. By his senior year, college recruiters were visiting Southern Indiana to see the young gun who was averaging 31 rebounds.
The hype, the excitement of the local towns going to those games, it was amazing. We're like, what can he do yet tonight? What's he going to do tonight?
In 1974, Bird took his competitive fire to Indiana University. But when he arrived in Bloomington, the deprivations of his home life back in French Lick pulled heavily on his closely held yet highly sensitive emotions.
Coming from a town that had around 2,000 and going somewhere where they had over 30,000, right away I sensed that I was in the wrong environment.
You can just see the 2 closets in this little dormitory room, and the one kid's got this rack of fine, nice clothes, and Larry Bird's got nothing but a couple of pairs of jeans.
I don't think he was really ready to go to school. And I wasn't as attuned to what his needs were as a kid as I should have been.
We passed Coach Knight going to a bookstore at IU, and Larry acknowledged, so I said, "Hi, Coach Knight," and he just kept walking. And it really hurt Larry's feelings.
Plus, I didn't have the funds and the clothing and things I thought I needed to get me through. I made my mind up that I couldn't survive there, and it was time to go.
Less than a month later, Bird retreated to French Lick. He enrolled in a nearby junior college, but quit after 2 days and went to work for the street department. In early February of 1975, Joe Bird delivered on a recurrent threat. He committed suicide at the age of 48.
His father cared very much for his family. Certainly there was talk in town that he had trouble taking home that paycheck, and he would often stop at the bar and not quite make it home. And he killed himself, Larry believes, and I think most of the family believes, so the family could have the insurance money. They had a lot of financial problems, and I think Larry's dad at that point thought they were better off without him than with him.
He was crushed that he lost his father. They were very close to their father, even though he wasn't always there. To see the children and to see Mrs. Bird And that period of time was very difficult.
It definitely was a tough year. There's no question about that. But the one thing that I did was make a decision where I was going to make my own decisions from that point on. And if there was good decisions, that's great. If there's bad decisions, I had to live with them.
Larry's hard to figure out because he doesn't really show emotions. I'm sure he had a lot of pain. He just holds it inside.
Just 6 months after his father's death, Bird started a journey toward personal growth and basketball greatness. He enrolled at Indiana State. Larry Bird arrived in Terre Haute knowing he would have to sit out the season due to an NCAA ruling that prohibits transfers from playing. During scrimmages with head coach Bob King's varsity, however, his talent lit up the gym.
He could practice, and our first 5 couldn't beat him. Coach King said, Larry, I've got to do something to let the first 5 win once in a while, and they can't win as long as you're in there. And, you know, Larry kind of smirked, and he said, well, just let them take their beating like a man.
As a sophomore, Bird took charge, averaging 33 points and 13 rebounds as the Sycamores went 25-3.
Comment section below. Let me know. Was that Larry's career average? I think I seen that at some point in time. I think that was his career average, while he was in college. That is crazy. To maintain that over the course of your college career. Yeah, Larry was different.
But it wasn't until the start of his junior year that the kid from French Lick emerged at the national level.
Larry always says the turning point for him was when Sports Illustrated put him on the cover and they had 2 cheerleaders around him saying, shh, the best kept secret in college basketball. Well, not anymore.
Once that came out in the stands, from that point on, it seemed like to me the next year was just total chaos. We had reporters from all over the country, and it seemed like every day somebody wanted me to do something for them. So from that point on, it was very tough.
They quoted him as saying one of his teachers had helped him get ready for a test. She was tutoring him, and they made it look like she gave him the test or gave him the grade and misquoted him, and he loved that teacher. Oh, he was so upset. He told Bob King, if I come back next year, I don't have to talk with the press. Bob said, it's fine with me.
Yeah, that's wrong. They took it just for for headlines, bro, and made it seem like that man was cheating or that the teacher gave him the test, when in reality she was helping him to be able to pass the test. I'm not the biggest fan of the media, I ain't gonna lie.
The rest of the team, nobody would ask any questions to it. And Larry felt bad about that because he was very team-oriented. And I think he shut himself off from the media more to build the team and to get the reporters talking to other players.
In his junior season, the All-American Bird led Indiana State to a 23-9 record. Red Auerbach selected him with the 6th pick in the NBA draft.
I can remember somebody telling me I was just drafted by the Boston Celtics, and I was saying, what are you talking about? I had absolutely no clue that they even had a draft that day.
I said to Red, Red, why would you draft this guy, Bird, and you know he's not going to play for this season? And he looked at me and he said, do you know how short a period of time a year is?
Wait, let me know. So wait, he got drafted while still in college and was still playing in college? Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't even know they could do that. I didn't even know they did do that. Red Auerbach knew something that we didn't know. He had to have known because, yeah, to draft him a year ahead, bro. I wonder when they changed that. In the comment section below, let me know if you know when they changed it where you have to wait until they're actually declaring for the draft to get drafted. Because I've never heard this before. This is the first time. So I learned something new.
The Celtics holding his rights for a year, Bird returned to Indiana State as a senior. As the Sycamores went through the 1979 regular season undefeated, the Bird legend grew.
Watched them all year long coming along, and we kind of thought, well, as soon as they get to the tournament, then we'll find out the real thing. And somehow they just kept winning.
In the semifinals of the NCAA tournament, Indiana State defeated DePaul 76-74. Then, in television's highest-rated final, Bird led the #1 ranked 33-0 Sycamores against Michigan State and his future nemesis.
Magic couldn't wait to give you the best smile and say, how are you, make you feel good. Larry Bird would rather say, don't even say hi to me. I'd rather not get involved with this.
I did not like Larry Bird. He didn't like me. Not because, something happened, but because we were both going after the same thing.
Overmatched by the larger, more talented Spartans, Indiana State lost 75-64 as Bird was frustrated by a collapsing defense. Committing 6 turnovers, he shot 7 of 21 and scored 19 points to Magic's 24.
Yeah, Larry had a bad game that game. I think that's one of the rare occurrences where he had a bad game. But like you said, he was dragging an Indiana State team that really didn't have that much talent. They had some talent, but they just collapsed the defense on him. But that's a testament to how good he was. They had to send multiple people at him. As soon as he grabbed the ball, 3 or 4 people flocking to him. They did exactly what most teams should do in that situation. But like I said, Larry had a bad game. Wait, 7 for 21?
They'll always be linked, won't they? And that's part of the beauty of sports. From that '79 NCAA championship, it's pretty hard to say Larry Bird without thinking of Magic Johnson.
Winning College Player of the Year, Bird finished his career as the 5th all-time leading scorer in NCAA Division I history. While awaiting the outcome of contract negotiations, he visited Boston.
He came to a game, and everybody started standing up clapping, and I'm thinking what in the hell is going on here? This guy didn't even play the game. They don't even know what he's about, but they just think that, he's going to be the difference.
June 8, 1979, Bird officially landed in Boston and signed the NBA's richest rookie contract ever, $3.25 million over 5 years.
Bird, slap pass to Archibald.
I never dreamed that Larry Bird was that good a defensive player. I never dreamed that Larry Bird was that good a rebounder. And I never dreamed that he was that good a passer. I also didn't know that he would always play hurt.
After watching him play, I said, somebody went into a cave in French Lick, Indiana, found this cake of ice, started chipping away, and out popped this prehistoric old-time basketball player. He played like the old-timers played, with his head.
With the 6'9" Bird at forward, the Celtics were reborn. Raising their victories from 29 to 61 in a single season, they reached the
greatest turnaround in history, bro. You're not telling me nothing. Greatest turnaround in history. And that was him before Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Danny Ainge, any of them. He didn't have none of the Hall of Famers he had to begin with, like when he won his championships with. One of the greatest turnarounds in history, if not the greatest.
1980 Eastern Finals. Bird averaged 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists to beat Magic for Rookie of the Year honors. Over the next decade, their rivalry would charge the league with new life. When Larry Bird and Magic Johnson entered the NBA in the fall of 1979, the league was in trouble. The finals were not televised in prime time. Part of the reason was image.
There were articles during that time, is the NBA too black? I think there were issues. The Knicks had an all-black team. That didn't sit too well with some people.
If you ask me then, I would say then.
The nickname they gave the Knicks was, ooh, boy, that's a hard. I can't say it on here, but the N-Boggers, bro, that's crazy, bro. What a time, dog. What a time.
NBA would have folded by now. Because in the 70s, you could have bought any team, man. Any of those teams for less than 500,000. Few teams were making money. No major sponsors.
Athletically, it turned around when we drafted Larry Bird. Here he came, quote unquote, the savior. So happened.
All right, so I think I'm gonna end it on this one. This documentary is about close to an hour, so I'm gonna break it up. I think I got maybe 2 more parts of this. You know what I'm saying? It's at 20 minutes. Or I might just knock it out. You know what I'm saying? There's 22 minutes left. But I am enjoying this, man. I hate that it took me so long to get back to this documentary, but I'm gonna pump out the next episode probably next week. Don't hold me to it, but yeah, sometime next week. But it's been your boy Carl from Golden Grimmett Productions. Until the next one, I'm out. Peace.